Hello, everyone. It's Mary the Psychic Shaman, and today is Tarot Thursday. And I've been feeling for the last week or so that I really wanted to share my Prisma Visions deck with you guys. It is an absolutely beautiful deck. Uh, for some reason, am not very connected with it. It is not one that I am drawn to that often, even though it is so beautiful. It is well made, and so I figured I would just do a little review for you guys. So again, this is the Prisma Visions deck, which is absolutely beautiful. And this was one of the more expensive decks that I've purchased, which is kind of sad that it is not one that I connect with that closely. It does have some amazing messages, and I use it for different rituals, but I do not normally use it in readings. Sometimes I'm called to pull a card or two, but I've never been called to use it for the base reading, if that makes sense. But again, it's a beautiful deck, very beautiful. So it does come very well packaged. It comes in this box with this beautiful, I love the artwork there. And it is pretty thick. And this is the inside. And it does come with a little book. And actually, this little book has quite a bit of information if you like them. It's more than the normal book. You know, if you see, it actually has quite a bit of info for each card. So that helps if you like that. As for card quality, it is very good quality. It does have the silver foil edge, which kind of saw a rainbow there, probably reflection off the purple scarf I have. But it is, this is the front. They are shiny and they are slippery, but the actual cardstock quality is very good. Oh, two of chalices. I like this. And the artwork is really pretty. I really love anything that reminds me of watercolors, any of this type of artwork, like shadow works. I love that one. And this is almost like reminds me of Monet, some of this stuff. So very, very beautiful artwork with this deck. And it's, the messages are a little different. Some of the cards are right on, like Six of Wands. This is a normal type of vision for a card that is the Six of Wands, but some are different. And so really, you either have to know what the meaning of the cards are, or you've got to be able to use your intuition. Like I said, my intuition for this deck we're not merging that well. So I use it more for rituals, for storytelling. And I'll show you why I use it for storytelling. And that's a beautiful part of this, which if you do readings for people, this would be fun to do a storytelling reading with, which are amazing. Oh, I should do a video on that too, because that's a lot of fun. One thing, this deck does come with another major arcana card, the Reverie, which can be, you can use your intuition for what this means, basically. And I can't remember what they say in here. For what let's see. It says, if this card comes up in a reading, know that a reverie is always ready for you. If you ever need to dip into another reality, you have the memories in your mind to stitch together your own perfect piece. But you also must understand that it is possible to spend too much time in another reality. The balance between the two is something you can only teach yourself. So you can either use that, and it says, or take it out of your deck, or make it your own. You can make it your own major arcana card. So that is the difference with this deck. My all-time favorite card is the Hermit, of course, because that is my significator card. And I love this artwork on here. It is absolutely beautiful. And I can show you guys these. They're not in order because I have used them and they've been shuffled. We have Judgment. And see how shiny they are? And the other thing that I do worry about with shuffling them is that this layer is going to come, is going to peel. I don't know if you guys have ever had cards that, the edges will peel if you use them. My Mary L. Tarot is like that. I haven't even shuffled it too much and it does that. And I think this would do the same. I noticed some of these edges look like they may not survive extended use, which is sad. But there is Judgment there. Let's see. The star. And you'll notice too with the artwork that it doesn't always, it's not as easy as like say the Raider Waite to gain the information. You have to go into the artwork to really feel what message is coming through. You know, the star, you don't have the beautiful woman who is walking and, you know, just in peace and knowing that she's walking through her darkness and that. You don't have that. So you really have to either know the meaning of the cards, or you have to basically just jump right into the artwork and figure out what the message is. Know too that you don't have to. So if you connect in with a deck, you don't even have to go with what the normal meanings of cards are. It doesn't matter. You connect in with your own deck. And the best thing actually is to do is take the time when you get a new deck, go through each card. Don't even look at the book. You know, even if you don't know any of the meanings, don't look at the book. Look at each card, and it may take time because there's a lot of cards, right? But take a look at the cards and even journal, write down what are the first two thoughts or words that come to mind. What do you feel the card means? And when you do that, you basically are like, you know, infusing the deck, and you guys are getting this relationship together where you can do an amazing intuitive read on, you know, on yourself or someone else, because you know, you've made this, basically you've changed this tarot deck that you purchased into your own. And that is awesome. So you could do this with this deck. Definitely, you know, who knows what message you would get from that. You know, you may get something different. Just know that major arcana cards are more life-changing. They're more more pertinent than the minor arcana. Let's see. The World. This has kind of everything all circling around. And Justice. This one is pretty explanatory. You can get the message for that one. And Death. That's beautiful. I actually really like this because the Death card I love. Death card means you're changing, you're moving forward, you are getting through, you know, one lesson, you're opening another door and closing one that you're done with. So I do like Death. Now the Tower here is interesting because it's not this tumbling tower and people falling off the, you know, top part that's tumbling down, but you see that tunnel. You know, and for me, it's like, oh, I should take a boat and go through that tunnel and investigate what is there, what's underneath the tower. So for me, I intuitively see this a bit differently than what the normal crashing rock bottom. You know, the tower is basically, it's similar to Death in the matter, it's you're going to have to change. Your lesson is done. You have hit rock bottom and there's nowhere to go but up. But this card doesn't enforce that with me. My intuition is telling me to look beyond with this card. You know, I would look at it and say, okay, you need to look beyond what you see, beyond what is visible to you. There is more to it than what meets the eye, is what I would get for this. But beautiful, beautiful artwork. The Lovers. This is pretty, but see, the one thing about this card, see if you can get it, that's really cool too, is because of the masks, it's really making you look at, okay, the lovers are there, but are they hiding something? You know, I mean, it's just different things. So really use your intuition. And the Emperor, that one's a little different. Very pretty. Now the Chariot. Isn't it funny? They put an old car in there. The Hanged Man. This one just looks like a dead body floating with piranhas eating it, which is kind of, no, it's not funny. That's not funny at all. What the hell am I saying? But it's interesting. So yes, I would definitely say you're hanging yourself. You know, you need to get your shit together kind of thing. But it's a little different. The Empress, actually, she reminds me more of the star. What the normal star is. Strength. Of course, you got the lions, but it's not quite the same as the normal Rider-Waite, artwork of the woman with her hand on the head of the roaring lion. A little different. The Devil, and I actually love this artwork. It looks like, kind of sad because it looks like a forest. Either it looks like a beautiful fall, with the red leaves and the sun is setting and, the beautiful time to go walk through the woods, or it's a forest on fire. So, but how do you relate that to the devil? Just because it's red? I don't know. And a snake? There's a snake there. Snake is change. So I don't agree with that either. I mean, Amaru, Sachamama, is changing, it's releasing, and it's, having your belly to Mother Earth. Whereas, the devil is that, you're chained, but yet you have the key. You can get out of that. It's addiction. Addiction is a lot of the devil. But that, you are caged, but yet you're not. You could leave whenever you want. And I don't see that with this. So, different. The Fool, I do like that. But that's very pretty. The Magician, I think, is right on. That definitely is right on. And the Hierophant, yes, if you look, I don't know if you can look closely and see all of the symbols, but that one does fit. The Sun, I'm not sure about that. It's beautiful, but a little different. The Wheel of Fortune, this I do understand. That one definitely, all the change. Everything is always moving. Temperance, that's a very pretty one too. Woo! The High Priestess, this is a very pretty, very pretty artwork. And, it does show that she is in control and that she knows her magic. And this is one of my favorite pieces of artwork on here too, is the Moon. And that is actually pretty similar to what you're going to find in other tarot decks. So very pretty. Now, the fun part of this is the storytelling. So as I mentioned, these cards are absolutely beautiful. And what can happen if you take an entire, the Ace through the King of the Minor Arcana, there's a story. You will see a story, and I'm going to show you. It's absolutely beautiful. And I have used the swords. So swords are air. Swords are intelligence. But there's a double, swords are double-edged, right? So the more intelligent you are, the more you think. The more knowledge you have, the more you understand. And our world is not all loving, right? We have a balance of love and hate, or hopefully, but sometimes it definitely doesn't seem like it's balanced. But it's still the double-edged sword. So the more you know, the more you question things, the more you know that there's hatred, and that there's hurt, and there are struggles. And with this whole Ace through King for the sword, for the Minor Arcana, for the sword suit, it tells an entire story. So let's see, I'm going to put you going the other way. Okay, excuse my awesome wine bottle. Prophecy. That is the star. Love that. So if you look, you start out with the Ace of Swords. And this tells an entire story. And you can see the struggle. So when it comes to the tarot, even with the Major Arcana, it's a cycle. You're going through the cycle and you're learning lessons. Like this can be a big lesson, and you're going through each stage. So, know that once you're through, of course, the 5 is usually, in a lot of the decks, the 5s are difficult, but it's also a point to move forward, right? You're not quite halfway there, but you are really halfway there. When you think about, because the Page, Knight, Queen, and King, they are almost like one lesson. That's like either people helping you, it can be, but for me, I see it's you growing, it's you changing, going through each phase. So I kind of find that as one step when you're talking about a lesson. So here, let's look at this. We've got the Ace of Swords. We've got the Two of Swords. Look at that. Look, blindfolded, Two of Swords, not knowing what to do. And this is winter, of course. Beautiful, beautiful. Three of Swords, not looking too great with that dead elk. And look at the Four of Swords. This is starting. And also notice the background artwork, where the waves of air, what is there, with the different colors, how it is, how it's coming up. It's crescending, to the Five of Swords, where it breaks apart. So everything has a story here when you put them together. You go to the Four of Swords and the Five of Swords, which is conflict. A lot of conflict, but there's change in conflict too. You know, you go to the Six of Swords where you're finally moving forward, right? You're getting past that 5. And look at how 7 and 8 merge into each other. And you go to 9 and you have the battle. And look at that. And look at 10. Look at 10. Look at that. Look at how he's just impaled himself in that wheel of swords. And you have the Page who seems so triumphant, and the Knight who seems even more triumphant, like, I've got this. Then you've got the Queen who has definitely been able to triumph. And, you know, it's kind of sad though. It's like caging. And the King then is there, which is not as, I don't find the kings as beautiful as the queens. Maybe I'm just, I don't know why. But the other thing you got to look at with this whole story of swords is, don't look at, you know, I look at the swans here as your thought forms, yourself. This is very similar to getting, like, for an example, would be getting through a very rough period or a state of depression. All of the steps that you have to go through to get there. And you're fighting yourself. You're fighting your intelligence here. You're fighting your thought forms. And fighting forms is one thing that is beautiful about shamanism. So we all have those horrid thoughts that go through our mind, right? And we have bad experiences. And the thing, when you look from a shamanistic perspective, is that we can change our perceptions, right? So we can change the way we think. And what that does is it allows us to accept, you know, the shadow aspects of us, accept the point that we all get down, we all have issues, we all fight with our own thought forms, and it's okay. You know, we can get through it. And this is also something to think about, this whole storyline of the swords. Find out if you're going through a period, and now would be a good one. Look at all, you know, look at Ace through King, and you can look them up, look up the definitions if you want, or look at the storyline here. You know, pause the video or look through again and again and figure out, where are you at? Because I am guaranteeing that I think all of us have at least been somewhere here during this period, you know, during this quarantine. Excuse me. And to know how, you know, you don't have to go through each step either. You can skip over them. So it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I can't say enough about this deck, how it is amazing. I love the artwork, the stories. I don't know why. Maybe it's not time for me yet. Maybe I won't ever really connect as closely with this deck as I do others. Maybe it's meant for somebody else. Maybe I'm meant to gift it to someone down the road. And that can happen. I have, you know, quite a few tarot decks that I absolutely love. But some are used more than others. And sometimes you have one to maybe infuse your beautiful energy with, and maybe it doesn't work, and maybe that's because you are getting it ready for someone else. So hello, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about the King of Swords. You know, as I was doing the video, I kind of skipped over the King of Swords. I did not see the artwork that well, and for some reason, I don't know why. But after I was done with the video, I was like, oh my gosh, I picked up the King of Swords, and, you know, I know the backstory of what the normal meaning is. And I looked at this, and I saw, though, how beautiful it actually is. You know, the Queen did, so it's the first time in this whole story of, you know, the swords, that there's a smile, that there's triumph, that there's not pain and suffering and fighting. And so it is the top, you know, it's the finale. It is where you finally realize you don't have to fight with yourself, you know, because this whole Ace through Queen, the whole entire suit of swords is you fighting with yourself. You overcoming your own thoughts, your own intelligence. And here, do you see what he's doing? Instead of fighting, he has brought down the butterflies to feed the chicks. So instead of fighting, he is actually working with his self, his thought forms, his intelligence. And that's beautiful. So this will be on, I don't know, maybe I'll splice this in, but just so you know how awesome this actually is and how the story has a happy ending and how at the end you can be triumphant and know that this is a cycle, keeps going, and how you work through it all depends on you. I think that's done. I will be done with talking about this. If you guys have ever want to see a specific card for this deck, let me know. I'd be more than happy to send you a picture. And I think that's it. So have a wonderful Thursday. Enjoy your upcoming weekend. Don't forget on Saturday we're doing our live where I am over in the Facebook group where I will be answering any questions. That's our Ask a Shaman and then doing a guided meditation. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Love you. See ya.